All right, boys. Are you ready to dive deep? Because this one is going to be a deep dive. You're going to need your floaties. We're going in over your head. Okay? If you're here for the retard videos, this one you're going to have to skip. Okay? The short bus conquistadors, if you know, you know. You are going to have to pack it up. All right? This one is not for the short bus. All right, here we're going to start with the premise. What I learned from being screamed at by an actual billionaire is something that I've learned a multitude of other ways, and I've seen it demonstrated a multitude of other ways, and it's actually a biblical principle in many ways too. And that's this right here. You do not experience reality. You experience your beliefs about reality. Okay? You do not experience reality. You experience your beliefs about reality. So when we talk about your life, what we're really talking about is your experience of life, of reality. Okay? And I'm going to tell you this story. It's going to make sense how this all ties together. But what I need you to understand, I want you to imagine there's 3 layers here, okay? There's the reality layer. There's the beliefs that you have about reality. And then over here, there's your experience, your life, okay? Reality is filtered through your beliefs. And by the time it gets to you, it is no longer reality. It is your experience of reality. Okay, before I get to my story, let me make it real simple with an illustration. Okay, there are certain individuals who, for whatever reason, have lost capacity to feel some of their nerves. Some of their nerves are dead or messed up, broken, whatever, and they can't feel things, okay? This could be due to disease, due to injury, due to degenerative problems, anything, all right? If that person cannot feel their hand, like I can feel my hand right now. If I were to put my hand on a hot stove, I would feel the hot stove and I would immediately yank my hand away because I don't want my hand to continue burning, okay? But this person that doesn't feel their hand, if they put their hand on a hot stove accidentally and they don't realize that it's hot, then they are not going to experience reality because they have a problem with this middle layer. They are not able to perceive reality correctly through their hand. And so their experience of reality is very far removed. When they put their hand on that hot stove, they don't experience the hot stove. They just experience the same thing that I do when I put my hand on this glass desk. Just kind of some resistance there, right? They don't experience the burning of their hand, but reality is their hand is burning, okay? In the same way, you don't experience reality as it is. You experience reality as you are. You experience things the way you are, not the way they are, okay? That doesn't mean that they've changed, okay? This is not any woo-woo new age stuff where we change and then as a result, something else changes automatically. Now, there are elements of life where that can be true, but it's not true with a lot of things. With the large majority of things, the way you can change your experience is by changing your beliefs. And I need you to understand, you're not experiencing reality as it is. You're experiencing your version of it, okay? So, to my story with the billionaire, right? I used to work at a company called 7 Brew Coffee, right? I've talked about this before. We brought on this guy named Jimmy John. It's probably a sore subject at this point. If you know, you know. But he was going to partner with us, help us build the company. And he did for a little while. And you can look up public record on how all that played out if you want. But back in that time, He was coming to address us as kind of a corporate team. I was on the corporate team there. And he was talking to us about a myriad of things, one of those being franchising, which we were all excited about potentially doing. And that's important later in the story. And by the way, Seven Brew is now mostly franchises. I mean, there's over 600 locations nationwide. There's probably one near you. That's another story. But anyway, Jimmy John, in case you don't know, that's the sandwich shop guy. Jimmy John subs. It's like a red J and a black J, and they give you like sandwiches. It's like Subway, but kind of different. Very, very limited in scope, just sandwiches, right? So Jimmy John, the billionaire guy who started the whole thing, he's the guy I'm talking about. So he comes to talk to us as a corporate team at Seven Brew Coffee, and we're sitting in this old building. It wasn't that old, but it was like kind of dingy and cleared out and needed to be renovated. And it was going to be our corporate office later on. So he comes in there and it's this echoey concrete room, and we're all in these folding chairs in a circle, and he's in the middle and he's yapping. Now, this is not defamation to say what I'm about to say, because anybody who's talked to the guy, he would probably tell you this himself. He's loud, okay? He's a loud dude. I don't think anybody who knows him would say he's got zero anger issues. He can be a little bit volatile, okay? He can be a little bit volatile. And you might not call it anger, you might just call it expression or intensity. I think that might be the word he prefers. We'll stick with that. He can be very loud. He can be intense. I'm not here to judge his heart, okay? I don't know how angry he is or isn't. Let's just call it intensity. He's also 6'4", probably. I'm going to look that up right now. Jimmy John height. He's at least 6'3", 6'4". Let's see what AI has to say. AI is saying 6 feet. There's no way. There's no way. No way. He's taller than 6 feet. And he's got to be 300 plus pounds. Very big guy. You would think he was an Italian guy with the sandwiches, but it's actually French. So he's big, he's loud, he's got this big obnoxious chain that he's wearing, okay? And like a triple XL t-shirt from I don't know where. He's got this big obnoxious chain. He's loud, he's intense, he's talking. And here I am listening, right? Now, mind you, I have been known to get in trouble before, but it's only when I want to, okay? I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude, you know. I'm well-mannered. If I get in trouble, it's because I purposefully say something that I know is going to not sit well with people, right? And I have a convicted moral reason for doing that. But other than that, dude, I'm clean cut. Everybody knows it. I'm sitting there listening to this guy with, I don't know, 30 other people in there from the corporate team. He's talking about franchising. He gets to that topic. And I look over at my buddy who is also interested in franchising. You know how you do when like the speaker is talking and the speaker talks about something that you know you and your buddy are both like hip to or like excited about? You kind of give them a little look. You're like, hey, check that out. Like just give them that eye contact real quick, right? That's all it really was. So I'm looking at my buddy to see if he's like reacting at all. I'm looking over there, seeing if he's making a reaction. He's not really. Whatever. I turn back to the center of the room where Jimmy John is pacing around and talking. And lo and behold, he's right in my face. He had stopped his pacing, and he's right in my face. And guys, the title is not clickbait. He was yelling. He says, "Oh, Do you think you can explain this better? Do you want to come up here and talk about this? He's mad at me, dude. And I'm just like, no, you're doing good. No, I think you got it. He's like, do you understand this? I was like, I think I do. Do you want to talk about this instead? No, I think I'm good. Just trying to play it cool, be chill. And then he was not satisfied with that little interrogation. He turns to the poor girl next to me, who's going to remain nameless, but she was, a fellow member of the corporate team. He turns to this girl next to me, and he's all, was he talking to you? Do you have something that you were trying to say? And she's just like, if you've ever seen it in the cartoons, man, where someone gets super embarrassed in a cartoon and they literally melt in the chair and like melt onto the floor. That this girl did that in human form. Like she shrank, like she visibly shrank, and she's like collapsing into her seat and kind of sliding down in the chair, trying to make herself as small as possible. And she's shaking her head in like terror. She's like so afraid. And then he moved on and he kept yapping. And he never expressed any sort of intensity at me again. Okay. Now, quick question. Tell me what you guys think. About 20 minutes later after his speech, he asks everybody, he asks for volunteers. He's like, hey, who thinks they can help me with XYZ? More or less is what he asked. Who do you think raised their hands? Do you think anybody raised their hands? Oh, well, I'll tell you this. I raised my hand. I and one other person, even after he just tore me a new one in front of everybody, right? Needlessly called me out and started yelling at me. I raised my hand. Me and one other person out of all those 30 people. And by the way, the thing he asked, everybody in there should have been able to help with. Literally, everybody in there should have been able to help with. It was me and one other person that raised their hands. Me and that one other person then start working with him on a project that affects the entire company. I now have his personal cell phone number. I've texted him, I've called him, worked with him, conferenced with him, worked with his assistant, worked with one of his stealth mode operator, like right-hand man type people, like had this ongoing working relationship with him for several months afterward. And never once did he mention the thing at the meeting, and never once did it come up, or never once did I have a negative experience with him since then. It wasn't, never turned into a big deal. That was my experience, right? Some people, and y'all have to catch how this went. Me and the girl I was sitting next to, we experienced the exact same thing. And not even. I mean, but it was close enough. We both experienced the reality of this loud, intense, big, tall, mafia chain looking billionaire guy yelling at us in front of our peers and our employers. Being mad at us in front of our peers and employers. This guy who is like a heavy hitter partner in the company, okay? That's what we experienced. But our experiences of it were very different, right? Now, to me, I stayed calm, cool, collected. It did not rattle me. I was then able to volunteer for something with him later when everybody else was too afraid to. Went on to work with him directly and do a project together. Very cool. Girl next to me freaked out, melted in her seat, was traumatized visibly. And he spent a lot more time yelling at me than he did at her. Was every bit as intense with me as he was her too. So why did we react so differently? You might, some people might say, oh, it's because you're tougher than her. Wrong. If you were talking about like a pain tolerance test, or like endurance of some kind, sure, we could go with that. But that wasn't at play here. The reason that I handled it different than her is because I have a different lens through which I was viewing what happened. Okay? His big, intense, loud self yelling at me communicated something to me, and it communicated something very different to her. I'm not in her brain, so I don't know what it communicated to her, but from the looks of it, here's what it was communicating. I am not safe. I am being threatened. My career might be on the line. My reputation is on the line. I am very scared. Please ignore me. I am a worm. I don't exist. That is what her body language, facial expression, vocal tone was communicating. And that's how most people, honestly, would react to being yelled at by a 6'3", 300-pound chain-wearing billionaire, okay? Most people would react like that. So it's not out of the question to think that she reacted that way too. And again, the only difference between her and I is beliefs about self-esteem, beliefs about identity, beliefs about security, who my provider is, where my self-worth comes from. Those are the only differences. I have a client who, he's not unique in this because other clients have done this too, but he's very fixated on reality. Like there's very real things like this person doesn't like me, this person's out to get me because I'm single, the church doesn't see me as a full man, and all these other things. All these other reasons why other people do things negatively toward him. He's very fixated on that. Listen, when Jimmy John yelled at me, it's not like I pretended that wasn't real. La 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 la, think positive. It wasn't any of that nonsense. I saw what was happening. But I refused to accept any implications from that. I refused to take any of it personally. I refused to let any of it define me. Whereas most people, when they get ripped like that in a public setting, in front of their bosses, in front of their peers, by a very intimidating individual, most people will take it personally. They will accept the implications of, oh, I'm so screwed. I'm out of place. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. All these things, right? Listen, if somebody wants to fire me, they can fire me. I can't control that. But what I can do is say, you can do whatever you want. I'm still going to do whatever I want, and I do not care what you do. What you do is on you. If you want to yell at me, that's on you. That's not a reflection of me. That's a reflection of you. You want to call me out and try to humiliate me? Side note, nobody can humiliate you. I want you to understand. Nobody can humiliate you. What does that mean? It means to humiliate someone means to kind of forcefully embarrass them, right? If I humiliate somebody, that means I would forcefully embarrass them through like exposing something or calling them out or making them look bad or whatever. I can kind of make somebody look bad to other people if they're really that gullible, but I cannot, and nor can you. Nobody can embarrass somebody. You are the only one who can embarrass yourself, right? You're the only one who can humiliate yourself, because to be humiliated, you have to catch this. To be humiliated, you have to agree with what other people are saying. You have to agree with how they see you. If you simply refuse and say, hey, you guys can think I'm great, you guys can think I suck, you guys can think anything in between, you guys can think I'm really good at my job, you guys can think I suck at my job, I don't care. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. I'm still going to work as unto the Lord. I'm still going to hold fast to my integrity. I'm still going to volunteer for the thing. If I think I can help and he needs some help, I'm going to volunteer. Why? Oh, but Luke, he just yelled at you. He probably hates you. I don't care. If he wants to keep hating me, he can, and he cannot accept my help on the project. Apparently, that wasn't a big deal for him. And we worked together hunky-dory, no problem, okay? So many of us, because I talk to guys about confidence a lot, self-worth a lot, self-esteem a lot. So much of confidence is like, it boils down to just not accepting other people's expectations and frames. Not trying to fight back either. Like some of y'all are like, oh, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be a man. Nobody can mess with me. Ah, that's not it. I'm talking about not caring. If you're all chest thumping, all bowed up, trying to prove something, you already lost, my boy. You already missed the boat. I'm talking about not caring. Jesus is real good at this, by the way. You read the Bible, man. You read the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, me, and John. You know what I'm saying? Jesus is really good at this. He's really good because people will come up to him and they will antagonize him. They will try to throw these nonsense accusations, trick questions, all these things. He's cool as a cucumber. He's not trying to say, you can't do that. That's a logical fallacy. Oh, that's not fair. He's not reacting emotionally because he's not threatened. He's chilling. Okay? Hebrews 12 tells us that for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame. Nobody captured him, guys. When Jesus went to the cross, nobody captured him and forced him into that. Anytime Jesus did anything, it was because he wanted to. Now, people may have looked from the outside looking in and said, oh, they arrested him. Judas betrayed him. Poor Jesus. I mean, blessed Jesus, praise Jesus, but not poor Jesus. He did what he wanted, right? He was always in control. There were times where he expressed anger and got really intense himself. He was still in control. Confidence is about not letting other people impose frames on you. Okay, I'll give you another story. This is from one of my other clients. My boy, back in the day, there used to be this perfume that was, I don't know. It's been a while since this happened. But y'all have seen the perfume or like the cologne commercials, right? That it's like pheromones, where like you spray it on you and it supposedly activates the primal pheromones that you can't really smell, but your subconscious smells. And it's like, ooh, the women they go crazy about this because of the pheromones, okay? So my client's buddy had some of this pheromone cologne, right? And my client's buddy didn't want it anymore. So he's like, hey, do you want this? I don't really like it. And my client says, sure, I'll take it. So he takes it. Lo and behold, client's girlfriend discovers the new cologne. And she's kind of toxic. I won't lie. They broke up, thankfully. So the toxic girlfriend of my client, she finds this pheromone cologne that his buddy gave him, and she's all, why are you wearing this? I think she finds it, and then she takes a picture and sends it to him later, like super toxic, and she's all, what's this? Why are you wearing this new cologne? Why'd you buy new cologne? Why aren't you wearing the kind that I gave you? What's going on? She's immediately suspicious, okay? And he responds, oh, no, it's not a big deal. It's not like that at all. I love you, baby. Like, I love the cologne you got me. That was just some cologne that my friend had, and my friend gave it to me, and he said, hey, you want to try it? I said, sure, I'll try it. It's not a big deal, I promise. It's not confident. And the reason why is because he accepted a frame that was imposed on him by his woman. Now, some frames are totally fine. It's not about, oh, nobody tells me what to do. Sure, I mean, people can tell, you can take feedback and input from other people. The problem is when it's imposed. The problem is when they're in control of your emotional state. That's the problem, okay? Jimmy John controlled the girl next to me's emotional state. He did not control mine. That's the difference. It's how we interpret what's going on. It's being in control of our experience. We can't control, well, I mean, we can control some of reality, but we can't control a lot about reality. But we can drastically change our life by controlling our experience. So my client with this cologne deal, let me explain to you exactly what happened. His girlfriend create this frame. She created this frame of, you are the defendant at court. I found evidence, Exhibit A, this pheromone cologne. You are the defendant and you are guilty until proven innocent. Why are you wearing this? Who you been seeing? Am I not enough for you? Why aren't you wearing the stuff that I gave you? Don't you love me? Guilty, 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 guilty. She positioned herself as the judge, jury, and executioner. And my client is in the witness stand having to speak up and defend for himself. Is any of that true? No. It's just her frame. It's her frame of perspective and belief that she is trying to impose on my client. And my client took it. He took an L, bro. He accepted that frame. And you know how I know that? It's because he started resisting it. He started playing the role of the defendant. He started saying, not guilty, not guilty. I didn't do it. My buddy gave it to me. You don't understand. I wouldn't do that. I love you. Defense, 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 defense. Because he accepted her frame of her being the judge, him being the defendant. Do you see? When we're talking about experience versus reality and beliefs and all these different things, he could have shifted his experience in that moment by simply not accepting her frame. You do not experience reality. You experience what you believe about your reality. Hopefully one of those illustrations helped it click for you. If you want to be confident, if you want the kind of confidence my client should have had in that moment with the cologne, where he can respond calm, cool, and collected, make a joke about it, make her laugh, diffuse the situation, become even sexier in the process. If you want that kind of confidence, but you want it to be rooted in your identity in Christ, if you want your self-worth, your level-headedness to be rooted not in any Alex Hormozy nonsense, not in any sort of, oh, I'm the man, so I don't take anything from anybody. None of that chest-thumping nonsense. If you want it to be rooted in Christ, what God says about you, you already know you're in the right place. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. And if you want a free consultation call to see how we can apply that to your dating, your career, your motivation, how it can affect overcoming addiction, all kinds of things. If you want a free consultation call, the link is below. I ain't gonna try to sell you anything. I don't sell anything on that first call. I rarely talk about my offer. So if we talk about having another call, I might try to get you in a program and you might become my next testimonial. Oh no. But that first call is completely free, no sales pitch. So if you're interested, do that. Either way, y'all know I appreciate you. It's for the boys, episode 42, I believe. Y'all take care.